Are you a natural born slob? Like really, is your sewing table and your sewing space so messy that you can't even sit down to sew without doing a lot of cleanup? If it is, I have some helps for you because I am actually a natural born slob. But in order to function, I make rules that I keep so that I can have clean spaces. I do have spots and I have piles. I believe piles are productive, and so I'm going to show you how I do this. When I sit down to sew, anything that's out of place gets put where it belongs. So this cutter obviously does not belong by this sewing machine. And here is a thread saver. It kind of looks full, but I'll leave it there till I figure out if I want more. This is where I put pins, and that is what this video is about. If you have spaces that you're allowed to make a mess and then clean it up, you function better if you're a natural born slob like I am. I'm allowed to put pins on this coaster, and then I put them away very efficiently and often. I carry the container around to use them, and I don't let myself put pins anywhere else. This is my in a minute table. I literally use it to make piles, and these piles are temporary. There are 4 piles right now because I've been saving them for you. I usually only have 1 or 2 piles on this table, but it's left clear on purpose so that I can pile things up and use this space for my productive piles. This first pile is my productive binding pile. I usually bind 5 or 6 or 7 quilts at a time. I just leave the bindings there until I'm done binding my pile, and then I stack them up. When there's little pieces, I put those with my scraps because I'm not going to use those for future bindings. So this is my scrap bin, and I just add it to that. And then I get all my bindings and I put them in my binding box. When my binding box gets fuller, about that full, then I go through and I sew light colors together, and then I start using the bindings for scrappy quilts. Scissors. I think the slob's way for scissors is to have 1,000,000 pairs of them. I have friends that just have 1 or 2 and they keep track of them, but I want them wherever I am at all times because I use them for everything on the planet. So these are for cutting batting when I'm ready to cut batting, and I like a pair by my sewing machine, cutting table, quilt machine, ironing board. I like scissors everywhere. This pile of crumbs is from our recent Twirling Vines video, and these crumbs are so wonderful. I just wanted to make my crumb blocks. I like to save 6.5-inch crumb blocks. I sewed some together, and I didn't trim them yet because I'm just showing how great these crumbs make the best crumb blocks, and I often will do this when I have a fresh pile of crumbs. I do have crumb boxes I could put the crumbs in, but I kind of like sewing them up while they're fresh and still exciting to me. So look, these scissors, well, I'll set them here for the future. I might need them. This thread, I just set there because I was lazy. While I'm cleaning, I will take 30 seconds and put it where it really goes, put away. Having a place for everything helps in organization, as does having tubs or places where you put things. And if you don't need a green crumb box, maybe you just put all your crumbs together. Then you can do that. I've trimmed them to 6.5 inches, and I just want you to see they're beautiful. So now I put them away, and I have a 6.5-inch crumb block. That's what size I cut all my crumbs in, all the different colors. So I pull out the greens, add them to the green pile, and I put them back in the crumb box. They're ready to go for the future. You might have different piles for different purposes than I do, but having a place to make productive piles that you plan to do or use, and then a place to store whatever you're making from those piles is key. This basket is where I put my selvages. I usually keep this other side in front of the light switches empty. Sometimes I put a future project, and this is a project we're about to do for a video, so I put it here. Also, I might put my drink here. This has to stay a pile. I'm going to do this year. This is I promised myself, and it's pieces left over from a project I helped a friend do that I have the other parts for. So it's going to sit there and bug me until I do it. A lot of my sewing happens off camera, and I want to make more twisting vines quilts. And so these are the leftovers. I get one of my little tubs. I put the twisting vine fodder in there because I don't want to put it away. I want to pursue and make twisting vine quilts. It's going to stay ready to go. This other is actually a video we're working on, and you'll get to see that at some point, and you'll recognize all the fabric when we get there. Meanwhile, I just leave them in their tubs at the top of my table because they're imminent. I'm about to start working on them. And this last pile, it's just leftovers. This is the backing of the quilt I made with the triangles. The bright and happy colors that are with it, they're 3.5-inch strips, and I'm keeping them because they're all 3.5 inches. And so I have a couple charity quilt ideas to make with these, and I want to do those soon. I don't want to put them away because if I put them away, they won't happen. But if I put them here on my temporary pile place, then I will get to them quickly. That's just how the rules go. I'm allowing myself to keep them here, which means I'm committing that I will do this project soon. 2 piles left, and they're both very temporary. I will work on them soon. And as for binding, I have a whole bunch of quilts I'm about to start binding. I will start another binding pile and get that put away too. This chair goes right next to my ironing table and right by my cutting table. And as I cut, I throw fabric, just like you're seeing me do. I don't fold fabric after I cut it. I just chuck it onto the chair, chuck it onto the chair, chuck it onto the chair until it's a big pile. And then when I'm done cutting, I go back and I fold up all the fabrics. It's just so much easier for me because I'm a natural born slob to tell myself I don't have to stop and clean up after every cut. I can do all the cutting and then I stop and I quickly fold all the fabrics. So I've developed this habit. I want to have a neat and tidy room. That chair literally is for people to come sit in to talk to me when they come in, or for me to throw fabric on as I am doing cutting. And then I put one fabric to the side I'm going to keep, and the rest I take into my table. The table is where I stack fabrics that need put away. And you can see I have stacks of fabric here. I go through a lot of fabric, I do a lot of piecing, and I allow myself to fill this table before I put it away. That way I can put light colors together and only put it away one time. It just feels efficient to me. Now for the cutting table. It's the hot spot of the sewing world. It's where we all put our piles. I have extra rulers out. Do I have a place for my rulers? Yes. So I try to put them away often. I use the same rulers over and over again, but there they are put away. Salvages should have been put in the salvage bin. This block either has to go back in the UFO blocks or it needs me to make a project out of it. I leave it here while I think. This other yardage here is yardage. When I was grabbing other yardage, I grabbed because it goes so well together. It's going to be a charity quilt. I'm going to leave it there. This is an imminent pile. These I put there because I knew I needed to take care of them and I just haven't yet. So here I am taking care of them. These are just leftover pieces that I think would be really cute in a charity quilt, and they're 3.5 inches and they can go in that pile to be created and made. This is, I don't know, why do I have gold? I decide I will make a charity quilt out of the extra block, and I'll do it quickly. I'm allowed to have things on the end of my cutting table because it's so big if I'm going to cut them. So I will cut these up, get it cleared off completely so I can start fresh. And these other things just need put away. Here's another horizontal space that I try to keep clean minus the dust. I do use this space. I use it for very temporary things. Right now, I'm going to use it to stack this fabric. I have a friend I get fabric to, and this is going to go to her. I'm going to gather some more, and then I'll get it off of that space. My scissors end up in the space between my sewing and my cutting table. It's okay. I just put them back where they belong. It's really important if you're a slob to have rules so that you can have clear spaces, be able to think, be able to function, and be able to work. And it takes lots of work to make rules and to figure out how do you function best? Where do you need to have piles? Can you contain your piles in little tubs? Do you have temporary piles that truly are temporary? This only works if you promise yourself and then get back to these spots and use them to your advantage. Having empty spaces and a routine will help you. And if you're naturally born organized, you don't even need this video. You are my hero. Stay merry and creative.